Guitar 1 students, quick reminder before we start today's lesson. Next Friday, that is the Friday after spring break, you have a chord quiz going over all 16 chords we're covering in this class. Now so far we covered 15, today is the 16th, and then we'll have all of them together. So please make sure that you are studying over the next week and a half. I'm going to be putting a study guide onto Schoology at the same time as this video. And you are ready for that quiz next Friday. Everyone in the class has to take it. Now, speaking of that 16th chord, go ahead and turn to page 33 in your book. You have two options for playing this week again, but it is always important to learn those new chords. So on page 33, we have our final chord that we're going to be learning in this course, and that is the B7 chord, B7, on page 33. So, B7 is an interesting chord because you're going to use your pinky, which you don't usually use in all of these other chords that we've learned in this course because you don't need it. But because this one needs 4 fingers, you got to use your pinky for this one too. So, on the B7 chord, first things first, pointer finger goes on the 4th string on the 1st fret, on this string right here. Okay, so pointer finger goes on the 4th string, 1st fret. Middle finger goes on the 5th string, 2nd fret, this string right here. Ring finger goes on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. And your pinky stretches all the way over to the 2nd fret of the 1st string. That sounds like this. Okay, so you've got your pointer, your middle, your ring, and your pinky. Okay, for the B7 chord, you do not play this lowest E string. This string is not played. You play everything else though, and you have... Okay, now it's not a bad chord. It's just it takes a little time to get your fingers used to getting to that distance. Now, the nice thing is that one of this week's songs is the 12-bar blues on page 33, and a lot of these chords work well together to play the B7 chord as well. So, looking at the 12-bar blues on page 33, bottom of the page, we have 2 of the chords that we used for the first time last week as well, E and E7. Now, if you don't remember how to do E and E7, go ahead and turn a couple pages back. It's on page 29, okay? E major. Remember, we did E minor before with our middle and our ring finger on these 2 strings going the... We talked about how cool it was. It sounded like you're in a Western, right? So you've got that E minor chord you're already familiar with. The E major chord, all you're going to do is take that pointer finger that you weren't using before and put that on the 1st fret of the 3rd string, this string right here. Okay? Tune that a little bit. That's better. Okay, so you're going from E minor. You're going to put that pointer finger on the 1st fret of the 3rd string, and now it's going to be E major. You can hear the difference between this kind of creepy sound and this nice and happy sound. Okay, so there's E major. And then E7, also on page 29, which you're going to be using in the 12-bar blues. E7, all you're going to do is just raise that ring finger, remember? So we've got the E major. And then for E7, all you're going to do is just raise your ring finger. Very similar to E major, but it's got that expectant feel, like it's going to move somewhere. And it is. So you've got E and E7. From page 29, you're going to be using them in the 12-bar blues on page 33. So, page 33, you've got the E major chord, what you start out with. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to go back to one of the first chords you used in the entire book, A7. Now, you have learned it using your pointer and your middle finger, right? There's A7. Now, it's actually going to be easier for you in this song if going from E to A7, if you instead use your middle and your ring finger to do the A7 chord. The reason for that is you've got the E chord, right? And then to go from that E chord to the A7 chord, it's a lot easier to just say, okay, forget the pointer finger, we're going to just move our middle and our ring fingers. So you lift up your pointer finger and you move those over right there. Pretty easy to do, right? So you've got the E chord over to the A7, and then back to E. And then you go from E to E7, which again is really easy. You just do E, and then you raise your ring finger. Okay? And then you're going to go back to A7. Again, use your middle and your ring fingers. It's going to be easier for you. And then back to E. Now the reason I say this song is really good for the B7 chord is because going from an E to B7 is probably the easiest transition you're going to have with the B7 chord. So the B7 chord's awkward. So you've got that E chord, right? To get from E to B7, you're going to move everything over one. Well, almost everything. Your middle finger is going to stay right where it is. So your pointer finger is going to go over one. Middle finger stays where it is. Ring finger goes over one, and your pinky comes down on that last string. Okay? So again, going from the E to the B7 is probably the easiest transition you're going to get. Please don't mind the buzzing, I'm not sure what's going on there. So you've got the B7 chord, and then you're going to go to the A7 chord, which again, super easy because you're just going to be moving some fingers over. You're going to lift up your pinky, lift up your pointer, and you're going to move those two fingers, the middle and the ring, just over one string. And then back to E. Okay? So going from E to B7 is actually really easy to do. It's just going to take some time to get there. So, in the 12-bar blues, you've got E, A7, back to E, E7, A7, go to B7, so again you gotta go 1, 2, 3, 4, back to A7, E, and then you gotta do B7 for the first ending. Remember, you have a first ending and a second ending in this song, how that works. So it's important you remember, at measure 10 of the 12-bar blues, you go measure 10, 11, 12, then you turn around back to the beginning of the song. Okay? This has a repeat. You repeat through from the beginning, you go all the way through those first two lines, you get to measure 10 the second time through, and remember, for a repeat with a first and second ending, you get to measure 10, and you skip those two measures right after it, the first ending. You go from measure 10 to the second ending, where it's just the E chord. Okay? So, please make sure you are aware of what a first and second ending sounds like, what it looks like. Listen to the sound file on Schoology so that you know you're doing it right. Alright, so your second option for playing quiz this week is the Blues Shuffle in E on page 35. Please make sure you are keeping it straight. Last week was the Blues Shuffle in A. This is the Blues Shuffle in E on page 35. Now, the two songs are very similar to each other, so if you did the Blues Shuffle in A last week, you're probably going to want to do the Blues Shuffle in E this week because they're so similar. It's a lot of the same muscles you're using. It is important to note, though, that if you are doing the Blues Shuffle in E, you still are on the hook for learning how to do the B7 chord on page 33. You don't get to just skip it and say, oh, well, I didn't learn it, whatever. Make sure you learn the B7 chord. Okay, so the Blues Shuffle in E is very similar to last week. You're going to be starting off with the E power chord. You're going to have an open 6th string and the 2nd fret of the 5th string. Okay? And you're going to be switching back and forth between the 2nd fret and the 4th fret. Okay? Just those two strings together for that first measure. Okay, then you're going to switch over to the A power chord, which is just the next two strings up. And then you're going to go back back to the E chord. Now, measure 4, you get the E7 chord, and all you're going to do for the E7 chord is just a 2-4-5-4 instead of 2-4-2-4, okay? So you're going to say 2-2-4-4-5-5-4-4, okay? And then you go back to the A7 chord, and again you're going to do the same thing, 2-4-2-4-2-4-5-4. So with the A chord. Okay? And then back to the E chord and the E7 chord. Now, here's the big difference in this song is you have the B7 power chord, for lack of a better word, on measure 9 in this song. Measure 9 and in measure 12. But measure 9, what you're going to be doing is you're going to say the 2nd fret of the 5th string and the 4th fret of the 4th string. Those 2 strings right there. And you're not going to move, you're just going to stay right there. Okay? So there's the B7, the 2nd fret of the 5th string and the 4th fret of the 4th string. Okay? And then you go back to the A7 chord, which is 2-4-2-4. And then down to E7. Now, when you get to that first ending in this song, you've got something kind of odd. Okay, you're going to start off playing the open 6th string and the 2nd fret on the 5th string. So that chord right there, but then you're going to lift up your finger, so the 5th string is now open, and you're going to say open 5th string, 1st fret 5th string, 2nd fret 5th string. Okay, so it's going to be a chord and then just individual notes. Okay, kind of like that. And then as soon as you played that, then you go back to the beginning of the song and do the E chord again. Ooh, that's a lovely sound, wasn't it? Okay, go back to the beginning of the song. Remember, when you have a first ending and a second ending, you're going to say, okay, I play from the beginning, measure 1 all the way down to measure 10, 11, 12 with the first ending, and then I go back to the beginning of the song again. I play from the beginning all the way through to measure 10, 11, you skip the first ending, you skip measure 12, and you play instead the second ending the second time through. So you are responsible to play the entire song twice through the second time you skip the first ending. Okay? So the blues shuffle in E, again, is very similar to the blues shuffle in A. If that's what you choose to do from last week, then this week you're probably going to do the blues shuffle in E as well, because it's going to be not that bad for you to learn. But either way, you have a chord quiz next week. Please make sure that you are getting ready for it over the break. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please let me know. Again, there is a How I'm Doing This Week discussion post on Schoology. That's where you tell me any problems you have, so I can get back to you, I can show you tutorial videos, I can walk you through the steps, I can help you. But I can't help you if I don't know you're having a problem. Okay? So you gotta tell me in order for me to help you fix it. Alright guys, have a great week and have a very nice spring break stuck in your houses.